You niggas make me sick. ASAP Rocky is still in the news, and so are a bunch of other rappers who claim that they're not going to Sweden for some odd reason. People like ScHoolboy Q, who's one of my faves, is talking about why American rappers shouldn't go to Sweden, as if it fucking matters to Sweden one way or another. Basically, there's been a lot of backlash against Sweden as a country, and I don't see the backlash being thrown their way for the right reasons. If I have any kind of criticism for Sweden right now, it's the lack of enforcement and consistency with their laws and against certain types of people. You got people like Tyler the Creator and people like ScHoolboy Q coming out to say that they'll never return to Sweden. And I'm wondering why. Like, they're making it seem like some incredible injustice has happened to ASAP Rocky when it hasn't, which is going to lead me into a later point in this whole little spiel right here about why people think it's ironic that ASAP Rocky's in the position that he's in right now. But yeah, I just want to kind of inform y'all that other countries don't give a fuck about these rappers the way America makes people. I know they seem like royalty here in the States, but around the world, people got bigger shit they're concerned with than who just dropped the hottest 16. So I don't really think they give a shit like that. And then you have a bunch of people supporting the words of their favorite rapper just because it's the words of their favorite rapper. Like, why are we boycotting Sweden? Why are we not going to Sweden? Why are we not performing in Sweden? ASAP Rocky has apparently done this in America and thought that he could get away with doing it in another country. Now, again, I am on his side in defending yourself and trying to prevent yourself from being followed. But the point of you hiring security is for the security to fucking do his job, so that you don't have to do anything. So you hire security, but you still get in the altercation. Why? Security easily outmatched these two dudes by a lot. Not saying that nothing could have happened to your security, and you might like your security. You might be friends with him, but let him do his job. The point of him being there is so that you don't have to be in a position where you would have to catch a charge for anything. Okay, not only is the security there to protect you, but it's there to protect you from the law too, because that's kind of what they sign up for. Okay, if at the end of the day your security needed to take somebody out in your defense, you wouldn't have to be answering for anything. Okay, that would be his job. That would be his duty. You know, and ironically, security is actually the one who got out first before Rocky and his entourage. That's the funniest part about this. Y'all were so eager to get into a fight with these dudes that you said, let's not let the security that I hired to come with me handle the fight, which is what he's supposed to do. You're in another country. You can't just throw hands with people just cuz. I don't really care what the reason is. I'm not throwing hands with anybody that's not in America. I'm just not. Number one, I don't know how y'all fight over here. All right, I might get chopped in the neck and I might not wake up. Number two, I don't know what the police are going to do. I don't know what the charges are. I don't know how long the sentencing is. I don't know the technicalities and everything. So I'm just not going to do anything. I'm going to go from point A to point B to my shows. I might stop at a brothel every now and again. Other than that, I'm good. Like I said, here in America, you'd probably been able to get away with that if the cop didn't see it, and y'all have been on your way. And my whole issue with Sweden in this whole thing is really just how they handle their laws. I think that their laws are a little bit too black and white, and I think they should be a little bit more existing in the gray area to kind of accommodate those people that have a bit more complicated legal matters, so that you don't just go to jail because some people were following you and you decided to turn around and blast them in the face one good time or a couple times. But yeah, ASAP Rocky isn't in prison because he was, you know, falsely arrested or anything. He turned himself in and they saw, okay, you assaulted this dude. Fucked up situation because you were the one that was being followed. But all the videos I've seen defending ASAP Rocky to the extent that people are justifying the boycott of Sweden is nuts to me. So that leads me into my next point about this whole situation, where people think that the situation that ASAP Rocky is in right now is somehow ironic because he's black and in prison in another country, as if it relates to him saying what he said years ago in relation to or in response to Ferguson. People are using his statements back then against him. Now, me personally, I wouldn't have responded the way ASAP Rocky did. I wasn't his age at the time, and I probably will never be asked the question because people probably already know where I stand on these issues without having to ask me anyway. But ASAP Rocky decided to answer the most honest way he possibly could and said, hey, I'm not with that. I'm not an activist. I live my life in the suburbs. I'm here messing with the white bitches in the suburbs, in the druggies, in the fashion, and that's all I care about in my music, and that's it. Okay. Now, while I disagree with what he said, and while I wish he would have responded with a bit more care and a bit more tact, I respected him for being honest and not trying to attach himself to an idea just for some clout or some recognition from other minorities, and just trying to give himself like this kind of pedestal to propel himself up on this like moral high ground or something. Like, just because you agree with this, you're somehow much more well off when you don't really understand it. So I appreciated him just staying away from the subject. Okay, now people are killing him for that because he didn't explain himself or didn't detail why he wouldn't do this or why he's not an activist. And now it's somehow ironic when, number one, ASAP Rocky is not being profiled. Number two, ASAP Rocky did not experience police brutality. Number three, he's in prison in another country. None of that has anything to do with anything that happened in Ferguson, and it has nothing to do with what Black Lives Matter are trying to prevent other minorities from going through in America. How is this irony? What I hate about the question that person asked Rocky back then is that you weren't really caring about ASAP Rocky answering the question. You were trying to see where he fell in terms of ideology. You're trying to bait people into attaching themselves into these ideas by using these blanket statement or these blanket questions just to see which side they fall under. You don't really give a fuck about how ASAP Rocky feels about Ferguson. You just want to know if he cares about black people, which is why I think the question is just stupid in itself. And questions related to questions like that, where the outcome is so usually obvious as to where a person with any kind of morality would fall. So asking me that question is kind of stupid. Just come out and be honest and say, do you support Black Lives Matter? Are you trying to be an activist? Are you trying to be this? Are you trying to be that? That's why he answered the question in that way. But I've got people with big platforms coming out and people that have large followings coming out and saying, oh, this is somehow funny. This is somehow ironic. I bet you wish you had the black support now. What would the black support do for ASAP Rocky when he's stuck in prison in another country that follows a completely different set of rules? He wasn't profiled, he didn't experience police brutality, so he still doesn't have a perspective as to what black people would go through if they were incarcerated in America. It's not the same thing. People are trying to make it seem like he needs the support of black people right now when that wouldn't help him anyway. It's just a fucked up situation to be in. Him being who he is and being stuck in another country, not making the money that he was anticipating making, and having to cancel his tour. Because that's just a loss of money and time, and the fans that wanted to see him don't get to see him now. Sucks, but that's what happened. TMZ for a while was going on to report that ASAP Rocky was living in these really putrid conditions, which wasn't true at all, and you had a bunch of people corroborating that story and trying to push that narrative when for the longest time I got a lot of Swedish subscribers that are telling me, hey man, for some odd reason a lot of my Swedish subscribers have been to prison, and they say, hey, that's a fucking lie. That they're not harsh conditions in our prison or jail system at all. So I don't know if the marketing team wanted to push that narrative. I don't know if his management wanted to push that narrative to get more support for the guy, but it's not gonna fucking work because we know how the Swedish dorms look, and it looks like a fucking HBCU dormitory from one of the tweets that I read. So while I do feel bad for Rocky in his current situation, I think he'll be just fine. And I just wanted to quickly touch on Jermaine Dupri. He had some comments and some things to say about female rap artists. And I see a lot of people throwing shade his way. And I understand why. You know, it's a really ignorant statement to make in 2019 where there's a plethora of female artists that have a lot of talent that rap, and they give that rapidy rap. I think that's great. But I'm not going to denounce what he said to the highest degree because in some cases, I mean, I'm not going to say he's completely wrong. His point, if you watch the whole clip during whatever show he was on, his point was to say that he sees that there is a shift in popularity when it comes to the certain type of content that you might get from female artists when rapping about certain subjects. Thinking that a lot of female artists that rap, you know, are really trying to be lyricists aren't being heard as much. I think he's really out of touch as a gatekeeper in hip hop. I do think that thing has been existing in male rap for the longest time, men rapping about pretty much nothing but topping the charts and the actual lyricists not really shining as much. That's been a trend in music just in totality for a long time. But I'm not trying to demonize what he said to like the highest degree either, because even Rhapsody has said that in her music before. Like, she's a rapper and she sees that other people in female hip-hop aren't really doing what she's doing. And I could go off the dome and name a ton of female rappers that I listen to that are amazing right now, but I think it's kind of pointless, because if you are really looking for female rap, and you're looking for it in the vein of lyricism and you want it to be meaningful or impactful, there are a lot of artists that you can go to for that if you're actually looking for it. I agree with what Jermaine Dupri is saying, only to the extent that it's a trend that we've already seen in male hip-hop for a long time now, and now female rap is going through the exact same thing. I just think it's a moot point, because I mean, that's just what happens. Shit that's popular usually has less substance, and the shit that has more substance you usually have to search for. It's the same case in male hip-hop. I don't know what point he's really trying to make here. Like, we don't get the same content from the Migos every fucking year about their jewelry, women, and money. So coming to that conclusion, I don't feel the need to categorically separate male and female hip-hop. I just look at it as a hip-hop issue, because people for the longest time with less substance usually rise to the top, while people with more substance are usually found closer to the bottom. It's not something that's a foreign concept, you know, and I would expect a hip-hop connoisseur and a gatekeeper, so to speak, in hip-hop to kind of already understand that concept, Dupri. But I digress. Rather than just continue to eat his food and look away, or just accept his fucking L and his alphabet soup, this dude Jermaine Dupri goes to create this cipher for females as if they're looking for his approval or recognition to just continue rapping about whatever the fuck they want to rap about. They don't need you anymore, man. You're not the gatekeeper anymore. You realize that, right? The fact that you were already so out of the loop when it came to what was going on that you felt that this was even an issue that you needed to publicly address immediately let me know that these people aren't looking for anything Jermaine Dupri related in the first place. I'm not saying he doesn't have the power to influence or add more traction to a young female artist, but at this point, the amount of female artists that have gotten put on have done it without the help of Jermaine Dupri, so what the fuck is the point of them needing you now? I'm sure the other talents in the female hip-hop world are going to be able to blossom without your help like they've been able to do for the past however many years, so relax. But that's really all I got to say today. I wanted to cover a couple more things, but I don't really think I need to at length. R. Kelly got arrested, so he's in prison. That's cool. I've been looking up more information about this whole Harvey Weinstein case, and I found out some really strange information about one of the first accusers being a rapist herself, so I don't really know how that's going to be received. But hey, it's been me. It's been real. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. I got Altoids over here. I got the camera right there. I got Imperial back there. I got Bob Marley right there. I'm just naming shit in the room at this point, and I'm out. Thank you for watching, and it's 90 million degrees outside. Bye.